My name is Hartwig Rothkegel and I'm a Future Studies student. This is the class of Thinking Frameworks. Today will be about the final individual assignment, and thank you for your time. It's about getting a product from a source to a destination. Let's make a concrete example out of this. You're living here and you want to have a packet delivered. This packet is over here. You need to solve for this packet to be taken to your destination B. There are three considerations usually that you will need to go through. These are going to be cost, the time, security. And this triangle reflects the ultimate customer value proposition. The smaller the triangle, the smaller the value proposition. But if we are able through an open loop system to provide lowest cost, fastest time, and the highest level of security to get a packet from A to B, this is what we're trying to solve for. In this event, this can only be solved through if you introduce an open loop system. Open loop system means that you introduce other stakeholders in the system as well. C, D, and E. So it's not about between you, the seller, and the driver anymore. Now multiple of stakeholders come into the play as well. If the source is at point A, then a driver might take it to point C, to point D, to point E, to your destination, which means there will be a number of handoffs. These handoffs, however, will ensure that the packet will arrive from point A to you in the shortest amount of time at the lowest amount of cost. Systems thinking. We want to see how the system in its holistic view will behave, what its constituent parts are. Let's start with it. The customer has a need. The customer wants to satisfy this need. Between the need and the satisfaction, someone that is able to solve for your need. And then lastly, we need someone that connects solution for your needs to you. And this will be done through the logistics component. This need is connected to a supplier. The supplier will need to get the solution of the need through the use of a logistics to the satisfaction, which should be able to solve for this need. The second line of thinking. Conceptual thinking requires us to understand the concept of what we're trying to solve for. You want to get the product at the right price, at the right time, and in the right quality. Now these are three distinct components that are all interrelated. This triangle will always be a representation of the customer value proposition. If one gets it right to deliver the product in time, cost, and quality, then the customer will be happy. These are interrelated. If this were to be the 0 point and this would be maximum over here, the aim is to increase this time and again. When someone gets this right, in an ideal case, then the whole area here would be depicted as a customer value proposition and to maximize the customer experience. The next thinking that we will apply, analytical thinking, helps us to understand the problem. Throughput and time to deliver. These are two basic data points. However, they tell us so much. How long did the customer needed to wait until their need was satisfied? Throughput, on the other hand, was our ability to serve the customer with all the constituent parts in between. Next metric, for example, would be on cost. The cost to serve will exactly show that. To what extent has economies of scale been utilized in order to maximize the return for the customer through a lower fare, for the driver through maximizing their fares as well as for the operator in order to ensure that something stays behind. As part of cost to serve concept, think of the following. We've got two axes. In our effort to maximize the customer value proposition, we need to find the optimal price. In the following case, that a product costs $100, we will only be able to sell 10 pieces. In the event that we will be reducing the price to $50, we can sell 50. And in the event that we choose to drop the price to $10, we will be able to sell 100. This slope is downward sloping as such. This is what we would refer to as the demand curve. Same as with supply. The higher the costs, the more entrance into the markets. The lower the price, the less. If we only choose to pay $10, we'll only attract this many. If we choose to have 50, we'll attract this many, and if we choose to pay $100, we'll attract this many. This is our supply curve. Our optimum, according to this curve, is where these two lines meet, which will be right here. Let's just quickly do a mathematical demonstration thereof. At this point, it means we would have a price of 100. We would sell 10 pieces, which means our revenue would be 1,000. If we are now at the optimal point, we will be able to sell 50, which would be 2,500. On the outlier, a price of 10 times 100 quantity will give us 1,000, which means this is our optimal price. As part of relational thinking, we need to acknowledge that there are different stakeholders. Different stakeholders include suppliers, competitors, customers. There will be competitors that want to collaborate. There will be competitors that do not want to collaborate. There will be customers. There will be other suppliers. Each of these have their space and deserve a separate relational thinking approach. We will focus on the customer and the emotions that the customers can and will experience when ordering a product. We'll put ourselves in the shoes of the participants in the logistics sector. Let's focus on the customer. The first feeling that could be imagined would be fear or anxiety that the packet might be stolen, lost, or it might be damaged. These are fear or anxieties, and they we need to respect as we understand the customer journey. The longer a delivery takes, the longer the anxiety exists. Now, there are ways to mitigate it. An express delivery, for example. This would reduce the fear, but also that would not solve for it completely. If we proactively inform the customer at all points, then the customer would have peace of mind. That's a second emotion. There's also the element of reward. Either the customer rewarded themselves by buying something, or somebody sends a parcel. These are emotions that are associated with the logistics service. If a packet arrives ahead of time, which will be perceived as joyful. On the contrary, if a packet arrives late, it will result into frustration, and this frustration is also an emotion. We will now apply critical thinking. Critical thinking gives us the opportunity to take our assumptions and to take them to task. The model that we will do that with will be Johari's window helps us to understand what is known to us, what is not known to us, and what is known to others, as well as what is not known to others, in 4 distinct areas. The first area, what is known to oneself and to others, is what is called the arena. The arena is available to everyone, and one of the key items is to enlarge in the arena as much as possible. We need to ensure that through experience, this is increased time and again. Another area, what is known to oneself but not to others, is what is called the facade. In business, this is just translated as missing marketing efforts. Thirdly, what is not known to oneself but others will know, the blind spot can be mitigated by introducing effective market research. The fourth area is what we refer to as the unknown. It's what oneself doesn't know and others don't know. After applying the different thinking frameworks, we will apply the ladder of inference. The time, the customer convenience, as well as the quality, we will want to apply in the context of a smart locker solution. Customer will order a locker. After ordering, deposit it into locker A. Once it's been closed, a driver will come and deposit it at locker B. Customer informed, what observable data do we see? So it comes down to the data that we select: urgency, value, size, and weight. We need to paraphrase the user experience and through a unique track and trace system. After we have paraphrased our ladder of inference, then we need to look at our assumptions again. The parcel will reach its destination at the required time and in the condition that it was sent. These are the conditions that we need to understand in order to enhance and preserve our customer value proposition. It all comes down to trust, as the packet will arrive at its destination and in the same condition it has been sent. And lastly, there's a call to action. If the customer wants to ensure that the integrity of their packet is ensured, they need to seal it with a proper seal that is traceable and can be reused throughout the system. Systems mapping. We need to map what we have outlined in the previous steps with a causal loop diagram. There's a need. The other boundary event is the satisfaction. The need of the customer to have a parcel delivered can be solved either through a retail solution, it can be solved through an informal market solution, it can perhaps not be solved for. We will delve into the e-commerce solution, specifically the smart locker systems here. But before doing that, we'll just explore the wider picture. Retail is limited through the opening hours, and that is a negative influence. The customer needs to spend time there, so that is one causal loop. In the informal sector, the customer needs to drive to the informal sector. The informal sector might not have the same quality standards or hygiene prescriptions. Looking at the e-commerce, we understand there's a cost involved, there is time involved. The further away the customer location is, the longer the delivery time will be. The further away the supplier is from the customer, the longer the delivery time will take. Next up, assume that the driver is imminent, but the customer is not at home. So there has to be an exact handoff between the driver and the customer. This need to meet at the same time is alleviated through the introduction and the use of smart lockers. The driver can put the parcel into the smart locker and the customer can pick up their parcel at their own time. Through the use of a seal, we can ensure that the customer's bag is sealed. It can be ascertained that what has been returned is also what has been ordered. We do not know what was put inside is also what was ordered. Hence, we need the track and trace. If we can uniquely identify a packet through a unique number, QR code or barcode, and at the same time ensure the integrity of the package. This means the seal, it's not been tampered with. This approach, in an environment that requires an open source platform delivery switch, a packet needs to be delivered from point A to E. All points are very remote. They're not frequented by normal delivery services. As we can see, there are 4 handoffs in this operation to get it from A to E. We are confronted with 4 possible trust issues. Each of these will be overcome through the seal and track and trace. We can ensure that the seal was intact until final delivery. This will help us to re-establish trust. Applying divergent and convergent thinking, the best way to solve for all of our customer needs and ensuring that the packet is delivered with the same content and in the same condition as it was sent. And with these 3 items in place, we have solved for our underlying issue, trust. As part of the solution mode, we develop 3 personas. Freddy is a driver, Federica is an end customer, Kaitsu a merchant. And we will talk about how trust is so key to their business dealings and how the seal technology will ensure that that trust can be maintained. So for Freddy, what is really important as a driver, he needs to pick up a package and he needs to deliver it from a smart locker to a smart locker. Now, whatever goes into a smart locker is not always what goes out or what the customer expects. Freddy is anxious and he's fearful that he might be implicated in something where he has got no part in the wrongdoing, i.e. the content was exchanged. This is where the seal plays an important and vital role. The seal will ensure and will be an indication to Freddy that indeed the content that was put into the smart locker has not been tampered with. The content that he received as caretaking is the one that he delivers, and as such, the one that the end customer receives. With the seal, he has got peace of mind. Federica, on the other hand, is an avid buyer of rarities on the internet via e-commerce platforms. She would like to make sure, because she's anxious and fearful that these either do not arrive at all or are arriving in a dilapidated or perhaps in a broken state. She would like to be in control. She would like to exercise control by understanding where the packet is at one point in time and to understand that the packet is indeed not tampered with. Kaitsu, she's working from home. Nevertheless, due to her integrity, she has made a name for herself by cooking for other people and selling her meals. In the past, Kaitsu has sold also her meals via intermediaries. However, the problem was that she could not control the quality before it reached the end customer. By using the smart locker as well as the seal, Kaitsu is in a position to understand the meal that she cooked was collected within hygiene standards and was not tampered with, which gives her peace of mind and restores her trust in the system.